Peace and blessings, everyone. It's your favorite truth seeker, truth teller, wise champion, back with another one. And tonight, I want to discuss something that is taking place. But I actually see it as awesome. I am a person before I became disabled that's always been into working out. I love going to the gym, lifting weights, doing cardio. Even when I was a big guy, I was still doing cardio, a lot of it too. Swimming on the treadmill, bicycle, walking, things of that nature. And what I'm seeing today is that a lot of people are into physical fitness and we look great. People look great, especially the women. I'm going to admire the women when I do the men. The women just look phenomenal. They're in the gym and they're dedicated. They're taking time out to make sure they eat right and they're doing the proper exercises, making sure they avoid injuries, getting the proper diets, just doing everything that needs to be done to take care of their physical bodies. But as a caveat, I'd like to add on that one thing that we also need to do is make sure we take care of our mental bodies as well. Like just like we consume physical food, what type of mental food are we consuming as well? Because you can build the body all day, but if it doesn't have a purpose within itself, then you're just building just to look good. And there's so much more we should be building for overall health, mental and physical. Being able to take care of ourselves should there be a situation arise that we can't depend on the normal everyday things that we do to take care of ourselves. The mind is vastly more important than the physical body is. This is why some people that go to prison, when they go to prison, if they utilize their time correctly, working on their bodies and minds as well, they're able to come home and do some miraculous things. And we've all seen it. That's because they spent time exercising their mind as well. There's so many people out here I see, like, it seems like the world is just getting dumber and dumber. Like people just do things just for the sake of being seen or say things for the sake of being heard. So much so that you can't even trust what you're seeing if it's actually something authentic anymore. And why are we putting this type of energy out into the world? Why are we taking time to be purposeful deceivers of people that we're obviously influencing? It's called an influencer, so I think it would behoove us. I don't like I say I think I know it behooves us that we take the time to build and expand our minds. As speaking specifically to Black people, we look at other cultures of people, and what they do is they spend a lot of time um, educating themselves about their particular culture or nationality, and it becomes a source of pride. It becomes something that they carry with them every day, and so that they make sure that when they're out in the world and they're acting as a representative of their people, which they know they are at any given point in time. They make sure that they do their best not to embarrass that. And this is something that's missing from Black people because most of us have no clue of where we come from. So we're walking aimlessly out in the world without a foundation of who we are or an understanding of what we've been through and what we are and what we could be. When I was a school teacher, I had a student teacher tell me one day when I worked in a Title I all-Black school, and during our downtime one time, I started giving them some lessons on Black history because my whole classroom was Black at that time. There was not a single non-Black student in the classroom. So I started teaching them and telling them about this stuff. One of the students told me, he said, "Hey, Black people haven't created nothing but robbing and stealing." So if this is the mind state that our youth are coming up with, then how do we expect them to break the cycle of generational curses that they have um, if they have no knowledge of themselves? In all the pantheon of existence, when you deal with ancient cultures and you deal with ancient religions and things of that nature, all of them had one common core principle in common, and that was man know thyself. You must know yourself. When I see mean yourself, I don't just mean the individual. I mean you as who you came from, your ancestors. And this is what has been broken. There is a lot of us out here that are striving to teach that information, but we have to take a vested interest in it because you have to best believe that when people come from China, they know Chinese history. When people come from India, they know Indian history. When people come from wherever else it may be, they know those histories. Because it's important. Because and it gives you a sense of pride. If you look at a lot of us as black people out there today, we don't have pride in who we are because we don't know who we are. We think we're niggas, and the women think they're bitches. So that becomes our identity. Words have meaning, and those meaning are put there in that place for a reason. So we have to understand and know what it is that we're come from, or we'll never know we're going to go. We'll just still be walking around aimlessly with no direction. So I think that we need to take some of that energy that we're taking and going to the gym and working out and getting these big muscles and getting in shape and making sure we eat the right things and start making sure that we take time to feed ourselves mentally and spiritually as well. This is of vast importance, and to the point that we're at critical mass, all because we don't know who they are. You see the YNs, they go out to the street and they're shooting and killing because they have no sense of direction, no sense of purpose. They wake up every day and they just literally go wherever the wind blows them. And then you have a certain segment of us also that have never been outside of our prospective living places. What I mean by that is like a square mileage, like the blocks where they live. They have no idea of the vastness of the world. Not even just the world, the state, the country. The different places they can be, the different opportunities out there, because we're not intaking that information. And then they've hijacked our music and our media to where all the images of us is given to us is negative. Whether that be through music, whether that be television. It's not one positive aspect I'm saying. Now, I don't really watch regular television, so I don't know what television shows there are that uh, portray black people in a positive light. But it's not like it was when I was coming up, when you had the Cosby's, Different World, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, where black people were being showed in a positive a light. And what's crazy about it was, the Cosby Show was criticized because the husband and wife were a doctor and a lawyer. And they said that was unrealistic for a black family to have two parents as a doctor and a lawyer. We have to break these stereotypes, and we have to make sure that we represent ourselves in a positive light wherever we go. We have to be able to come to a point that we're able to correct each other. If one of us out of pocket, we can say, hey, man, you're out of pocket. We need to get that together. We have to be able to maintain a better sense of existence than the way we are now, because we're headed to total destruction. If we don't get that together, and it starts with educating your mind. I saw the video with the sister talking about how she exercises her children and makes them read. Those children that she's raising, and everyone is criticizing her for raising them the way they are, her children are going to be the ones that employ your children, because she should prepare them in that manner. And she's showing them not only just that, she's showing them the world. Now, I know everybody might not have means the way she does, but we can still do things within our means. Small things like going to the beach, going to the library, going to a local museum, going to a local park, experiencing things, understanding that the world is bigger than the things that are being pumped to us on a daily basis. It's pertinent that we expand and build our minds, because if not, what are we doing? What purpose do we have? And if you found any, let me see, the word I'm looking for, found any value in this video, please like, share, subscribe. Let's do some collaborations. I'd like to talk to some young other brothers and sisters who have the same mind state so we can come forth with some solutions to the problems that we have and start putting them into work so that we can advance, because everybody's coming to this country and is advancing and past us. Watch. These new immigrants that's been let over into the country, through the borders, they're going to outpace us in 10 years, just like every other group has. And we're still going to be squarely at the bottom if we don't make a conscious decision to get it together and stop trying to point the finger at everyone else. And with that, I'll leave with love, peace, and happiness. As always, your brother, Wise Champion. Peace.